The Houston Texans on the field this week for OTAs as the offseason program continues to roll on. It'll culminate in the early part of June and then that long summer wait for training camp to get here in late July. But hitting the field this week, OTAs. Questions for this offense ahead of OTAs. I got 4 of them. Let's start with number 1. What does Nick Caley's offense look like? Nick Caley has been very close to the vest on exactly what this offense is going to look like. When he was introduced as the offensive coordinator, he said it's going to be the Houston Texans offense. That didn't tell us anything. But when you look at Nick Caley's history, some of the history from New England, some of the history from the Los Angeles Rams, he's got to kind of mold and put all that together and ultimately utilize what the Houston Texans can do on offense. Now, he made it pretty clear. They're going to operate the offense to the strength of the team. Well, as I think about the strength of the Houston Texans offense with the factors of the unknowns on the offense, I think about getting the ball to Joe Mixon, and I think about getting the ball to Nico Collins. They got to find some of those other strengths to figure out exactly what strengths they have beyond Nico Collins and Joe Mixon on this offense and utilize those. Caley will talk this week about the offense, but you'll be able to maybe see just a little bit, glean something from these early days. Remember, OTAs, kind of light work. You're not lining up 11 on 11 and thumping each other hardcore football, but you do get opportunities to see wide receivers and defensive backs go against each other. We'll talk to various Texans players as we get little bits and pieces of what Nick Caley is ultimately going to put together as far as this Texans offense. What is Nick Caley's offense going to look like? Hopefully we get some clues this week as OTAs and the offseason program rolls on for the Houston Texans. Question number 2, how's that offense going to affect CJ Stroud? When you think back to last offseason, even OTAs, but especially in training camp, it didn't really look particularly smooth for CJ Stroud and the offense. There was a lot of bumpiness to the offseason and preseason program for the Houston Texans last year. There were many training camp days where the defense took care of business and dominated the offense at different stretches. Now, the offense had a day here or there, but usually it's a little bit more back and forth. But the defense really dominated the Texans last offseason program as well as last training camp. So, CJ Stroud, will we see some of those big OTA days? And if we don't, that's fine. There'll be all a training camp for CJ Stroud to get on the same page with all of his new weapons on offense and get deeper into that Nick Caley offense. But when CJ Stroud says he got what he wanted, and he's going to have more control of this offense, he's going to have more say in what they do as an offense, you have to imagine he's been preparing like crazy to take on that role, to take on that responsibility, and be able to execute that early on in the process of installing this brand new offense. Because not only is it a brand new offense for CJ Stroud, it's a brand new offense for everybody, okay? It's not like he's got experience with these guys, but we do know if there's elements from that Los Angeles Rams offensive system, CJ Stroud is a big Rams fan. He's a big Matt Stafford fan when it comes to other teams and other players that he watches. So maybe he and Nick Caley, simpatico early on, and they're on the same page, and Stroud and the offense can show some things off. Plus, not only is it new offensive scheme, it's new offensive pieces. How is Stroud going to be able to perhaps set things and align things like protections? Is that coming along really well? And then getting on the same page with his new wide receiver group that includes new face Christian Kirk, new face Jaden Higgins, new face Jalen Noel, new face Justin Watson, and, of course, some familiar faces as well. The groove that he's going to get into with the wide receivers, it starts with OTAs. Perfect jeans start at the Perfect Jean. My friends at the Perfect Jean have the perfect jeans for you. They're the most comfortable. They're the most lightweight and breathable jeans that I have ever worn. It's hard for me to find jeans. I found the perfect jeans for me with the Perfect Jean, and you can as well. You're going to get 15% off your first order as well as free shipping. Use my link in the description down below. It makes a great Father's Day gift to ask for or to give, and with the free exchange policy, if dad gets something that's not quite right, it's easy to get him exactly what he needs. You can find the Perfect Jean for you at my friends at The Perfect Gene. Hit the link in the description down below. Question number 3 about this offense is, are they going to trust the rookies early? And there's 3 particular rookies, and maybe even a 4th, that you're wondering how much trust will they have from the word go? Because if you think back to OTAs and minicamp last year, that's when we got the first sign that Kamari Lassiter might be the starting cornerback opposite Derek Stingley. Well, this could be the first sign that maybe Jalen Noel and Jaden Higgins are a lot closer to Christian Kirk as the second pass-catching option than we thought. This could be the first sign that Ariante Ursery, the second-round offensive tackle, is a lot closer to Cam Robinson and Blake Fisher at those tackle spots than we thought, and even Woody Marks on offense. How close is Woody Marks to taking over that running back 2 spot? Is he ahead of Dameon Pierce? Do they trust him right away to do some of the third down back responsibilities that Dare Agumba-Wale has handled over the past few seasons? Those are big questions for this offense, big moments in this offense that OTAs can sort of start giving you clues. Now, look, if Jaden Higgins isn't out there with Nico Collins right away, or Jalen Knowles not taking some of those slot receiver reps right away, or not setting up outside with Nico Collins to utilize his speed, no worry. But last year, Kamari Lassiter showed that he was way ahead of the curve as a rookie. If the Texans trust those rookies early here in this upcoming OTAs on offense, it would show you that Higgins and Noel and Ursery and Woody Marks are ahead of the curve and maybe closer to making an impact here in 2025 than you had anticipated when they were drafted just a couple of, I would say months ago, but it was really just a couple of weeks ago, a few weeks ago. Few is probably the right way to say that. Question number 4. I mean, you knew I wasn't going to get through 4 questions about the Houston Texans offense without talking about the big fellas up front, the offensive line. Now, nothing really can be determined for the offensive linemen in OTAs. You don't really get out there and run block and thump and pass block and all those things. There might be a drill or 2 where you get to showcase something off, but upstairs, remember when I mentioned new offense for everybody? That's new offense for Cam Robinson, who's trying to be the starting left tackle. It's new offense for Laken Tomlinson, who's trying to be the left guard. It's new offense for Juice Scruggs and Jared Patterson, who are fighting each other to be the starting center. It's new offense for Blake Fisher, new offense for Ariante Ursery, new offense for Titus Howard, new offense for everybody on the offensive line. You got to showcase between the ears that you've got this thing dialed in as the competition for those 5 offensive line spots really gets going. If the Texans are indeed telling the truth, and I have no reason to believe that they wouldn't, and it is the 5 best guys on the offensive line, well, the competition and the opportunity to be one of those 5 best guys on the offensive line, it starts this week with OTAs. It's actually already started with the entirety of the offseason program. Not only do you need to be physically trusted by this team to go out there and actually take care of your business, you got to be trusted between the ears on this new offense. If indeed the bulk of the issues with the offensive line last year wasn't talent and it was coaching and scheme, being good between the ears will help one of these offensive linemen be one of the 5 best offensive linemen for the Houston Texans when the season gets here. And they indeed, if they are telling the truth, put the 5 best offensive linemen on the field. Those are my 4 questions for the offense. Do you have questions that you have for the offense ahead of OTAs? Let me know in the comment section down below. On your way down there, thumbs up on this video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And of course, don't forget to visit my friends at The Perfect Gene. You're going to get 15% off your first order and free shipping and free exchanges. Try out a couple of different styles. Try out a couple of different colors. See what works for you, my friends at The Perfect Gene. Again, 15% off and free shipping plus free exchanges as well. And use the link in the description down below. Appreciate you watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. And I can't wait until we talk Texans again soon.